Sorry, you're on mute, Maharaj. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Thank you. So today's verse is Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 3rd chapter, verse number 25 and 26. I share my screen. It seems like they've changed the software of the Zoom, so it's taking me time to find the buttons. And for some reason...
Yeah.
Yes, over to you, Maharaj.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tathakati Payarmasaya. Vishnivo Jandakadayaham. Yayu Prabhasam Samristam. Ratra Deva Vimohitaha. Translation. A few months passed, and then, bewildered by Krishna, all the descendants of Vrishni, Bhoja, and Andaka, who were incarnations of demigods, went to Prabhas, while those who were eternal devotees of the Lord did not leave but remained in Dwarka. Tatra snapva priting devan rishim shaivata ambasa tarpayit vata viprabhyo kavo bahu guna dadahu. After arriving there, all of them took bath, and with the water of this place of pilgrimage, they offered their respects to the forefathers, demigods, and great sages, and thus satisfied them. They gave cows to the Brahmins in royal charity. Amongst the devotees of the Lord, there are several divisions, namely Nitya Siddhas, Sadhana Siddhas. The Nitya Siddhas devotees never fall down to the region of the material atmosphere, even though they sometimes come to the material plane to execute the mission of the Lord. The Sadhana Siddha devotees are chosen from the conditioned souls. Out of the sadhana devotees, there are mixed and pure devotees. The mixed devotees are sometimes enthusiastic about fruitive activities and are habituated to philosophical speculation. The pure devotees are free from all these mixtures and are completely absorbed in the service of the Lord, regardless of how and where they are situated. Pure devotees of the Lord are not enthusiastic to put aside their service to the Lord in order to go visit holy places of pilgrimage. A great devotee of the Lord in modern times, Srila Narottam Das Thakur, has sung like this. To visit holy places of pilgrimage is another bewilderment of the mind, because devotional service to the Lord at any place is the last word in spiritual perfection. For pure devotees of the Lord who are completely satisfied with transcendental loving service of the Lord, there is hardly any necessity to visit the various places of pilgrimage. But those who are not so advanced have the prescribed duties of visiting pilgrimage sites and regularly performing the rituals. The part of the princely order of the Yadu dynasty who went to Prabhas performed all duties to be done in a place of pilgrimage and offered their pious activities to their forefathers and elders. As a rule, every human being is indebted to God, the demigods, great sages, and other living entities, people in general, forefathers, etc., for various contributions received from them. Thus, everyone is obliged to repay the debt of gratitude. The Yadus who went to the Prabhas pilgrimage site performed their duties by distributing land, gold, and well-nourished cows in royal charity. as described in the following verse. Om Gyantimirandasya Gnanajana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Vinodistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Mayam Dadati Swam Padantikam Ma Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pastyatya Desatarine Vanshakopa Tarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Pevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Let's see. Go to the 11th canto, chapter 2. And I think verse 41 is the verse that I'm looking for. Starts off with Devarshi Bhutatma Nirnam Pratingnam Nakinkaramaya. Let's see. No, that's not. Devarshi is the first word. Devarshi. Devarshi. Go down the page, you can read the verses. If you go slow, I can pick it up. If you go fast, I can't. Keep going. It might be 42 instead of 41. No, it's not. Let's see. Okay, go to, let's see. Go to 11th canto, 5th chapter. I think maybe that is the verse. It's worth seeing. Let's see. I can't read the verses, so you're going too fast. Okay, yeah. 41 is the verse. Devarshi Putatma Nirnam Pratringnam Nakinkano Nayan Rani Charajan Sarvatmayan Sharanam Sharanyam Kato Mukundam Patiritya Kartum. O king, one who has given up all material duties and taking full shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, who offers shelter to all, is not indebted to the demigods, great sages, ordinary living beings, relatives, friends, mankind, or even one's forefathers who have passed away. Since all such classes of living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, one who has surrendered to the Lord's service has no need to serve such persons separately. So those who don't take the devotional service, they have debts to pay. And here's a listing of the different categories of living entities. We are indebted to the demigods for giving us all of the material elements that we need, such as rain, sunshine, air. The great sages who have given us the path of devotion. Ordinary living beings, we have some debt to them because they provide various services to us. Relatives, family members, friends, people in general, forefathers who have passed away. There's a whole list of debts. As soon as you come into the material world, you're not free from any of these debts. You have to pay them. So that means you have to serve these different living entities accordingly in order to make up for that service that they are giving to you. If someone serves you and you don't serve them in return, you become a debtor in some way or another. Just like you have in a more understandable analogy is like you have to pay your water bill. So then the water company is supplying you water into your home. You don't pay the bill. After some time, they shut the water off. So you're indebted. But here, the point is that as soon as one takes to devotional service to the Lord, then all of these debts are automatically paid. In other words, because all of these other categories of living entities fall under the category of being connected with the Lord, because everything is connected with the Lord. There's nothing separate. And therefore, when one serves the Lord, one automatically pays their debts to all of these other living entities. This is a very important point to say. Sometimes devotees get involved with so many material debts and they start thinking, I have to clear all of my debts before I can take some time for devotional service. But here, it rejects that whole idea. It's not that one becomes, free for, if one, say, just like people have student loans, and then they take the Krishna consciousness, and then sometimes they have to pay their student loans. But sometimes, if they don't pay their student loan, still because they're engaged in devotional service, there's no reaction. Of course, the government might chase you down. So what we're saying is that one who's engaged in devotional service is watering the tree of existence, because Krishna is called Mula. Mula means root. So when you put water on the root, the branches, the twigs, the fruit, the flowers, the leaves, all part of the tree get nourished by the watering process. So similarly, when one engages in devotional service to the Lord, they are actually serving all living entities. Sometimes relatives complain that when you go to devotional service, you're giving up your responsibilities to others. But that's a fallacious argument, because all of these other relationships we have are also connected with the Lord, and therefore when one serves the Lord in devotional service, as it says here, one who has surrendered to the Lord's service has no need to serve such persons separately. So therefore one is free, because ultimately Lord is the basis of all existence. And if you're pleasing the Lord by devotional service, you're actually benefiting all of those other categories of living entities, because they are getting the benefit of the pleasing of the Lord. Just like we see in today's society, there's so many calamities, and there's war everywhere, there's shortages, there's crime, there's so many things. And but devotees are engaged in devotional service, and therefore, because of that, somehow the society is still going on. If there was no devotional service in the society of the world, the whole place would collapse. There would be nothing. And everybody would be, devastated by the material energy. But by pleasing the Lord in devotional service, even as it says, when the rain comes, the rain nourishes the agricultural fields. Therefore, the crops will grow. But the rain also falls on the rocks where there's no need. The rain falls on the ocean where there's no need. So even though the living entities don't engage in devotional service, still they're benefiting by those who do engage in devotional service. That's the power of devotional service. So sometimes people, relatives complain, your friends complain, you're giving up your responsibilities and you're now becoming a Hare Krishna. But actually, to become a devotee means to do the best service for all mankind. Because when Krishna is served, everyone benefits. As we use the example of the water falls everywhere, even where it's not needed. So in the same way, the power of devotional service is there. So go back to our devotee, the verse that we are, so it says the living entities here, verse number 20, what's it, 26. They offer their respects to the followers, demigods, and great and dissatisfied. Gave cows and charity for the Brahmins. Yeah. So they honored all living entities who are worthy of being honored. So there are two kinds of living entities mentioned here. There's actually, Prabhupada said there's a third kind, but it's not mentioned here, and that's called Kripa Siddhas. The Nitya Siddhas are those who never fall to the material world. They stay in the spiritual world. And they're greater in number than the sadhana siddhas, that's us, who come to the material world to try to enjoy life separately from Krishna. And therefore the material world is manifested to facilitate those siddhas or devotees who want to be separate from the Lord. And at the same time, the Lord gives them a chance to come back and again return to the spiritual world by engaging in devotional service. So the sadhana siddhas, that's us, those of us who fall to the material world. But then there's the nitya siddhas, but it says here that sometimes the nitya siddhas will also come as missionaries on behalf of the Lord, such as we could say Srila Prabhupada was a nitya siddha, eternally liberated soul, although apparently he took birth in this material world, but he did that as a service to the Lord. Even Prabhupada said himself, I was asked by Krishna to come to this material world to preach. He even remembers his relationship with Krishna in the spiritual world. So these are great, very great personalities who take material bodies just to propagate pure devotional service to us, the conditioned souls who are struggling in this material world, but who want to get out of the struggle by engaging in devotional service. The Kripa Siddhas, we don't hear about them so often, but the Kripa Siddhas are those who are, you might use the analogy, just like sometimes a university or a college will give an honorary degree to a person because of their outstanding activities, even though they didn't go to the university to receive the qualifications. They get a degree anyway because they have done some outstanding work for humanity. And they'll get an honorary degree, even though there was no activities within the university. That's called Kripa Siddha. So sometimes Krishna will award that to certain living entities who are exemplary in their devotional service, but haven't taken up the formal process of devotional service. They're rare souls, they're very rare souls called Kripa Siddhas. But most of us are in the sadhana siddha category, so that means we have to work in devotional service and can qualify ourselves to develop love for Krishna and then exit this material world at the time of death, like that. Here is another point that's being made, the importance of visiting holy places. Now, this might be a controversial subject matter because in other places it says it's recommended to visit holy places. But the point is being made here, and we have to understand it within the context that it's given, is that those who are fully engaged in devotional service are holy places themselves. They are actually called holy places. Tirtha kurvanti tirthani. They are tirthas themselves. And therefore, because of the power of their devotional service, they can purify everything around them, including themselves, of course. And therefore, they find no need to go anywhere but stay fixed in their devotional service. But those who are not up to that standard may find it beneficial to visit holy places. But what is the purpose of visiting holy places? Not to take bath. What is that verse? Saeva Gokara. What is that? Yasyatmi Bhuti Pulakenu come. Yasyatma Bhut here. Forgot that verse. Yasyatma Buddhi. It's in the 10th canto. Yeah, it's the 10th canto, I think. We're in the 10th canto, 14th chapter of the 10th canto, somewhere towards the end. Try verse number 59. I'm not sure which verse it is. It might be 59. No, oh no, no, it's still 58, 58. There it is. 58. Go to the Sanskrit. Samastutam ye parapam plabam pamam. No, this is not the verse. This is something
Guru
similar.
Maharaj is 1084:13, Guru Maharaj.
1084:14. Okay, go to that one.
13.
13. 1084:13. Yes, Yatma Buddhi. Yeah, let's see. Go to the Sanskrit. That's it. Yasyatma Buddhi Kunape Tridatuke Swadi Kaladrishu Boma Ijadi Yatirti Buddhi Salilena Karhi Chit Janeshu Abijeshu Sareva Gokaraha. One who identifies his self as the inert body composed of mucus, bile, and air, who assumes his wife and family are permanently his own, who thinks of an earthen image where the land of his birth is worshipable, or who sees a place of pilgrimage as merely the water there, but who never identifies himself with, feels kinship with, worships, or even visits those who are wise in spiritual truth, such a person is no better than a cow or an ass. Saeva Gokaraha. Gokaraha means ass. So the purpose of visiting holy places is not to simply take baths or simply visit there and leave and say, I've been there. The purpose of visiting holy places is to contact the men, the great souls who stay in these holy places, and hear from them about the process of pure devotional service or about the glories of the holy place that they are coming, which are the pastimes of the Lord. So, yeah, it's recommended to go to holy places for certain persons who need that for their purification. So you'll find this verse doesn't at all recommend it for those who are fully engaged in devotional service, but those who are not, they can benefit by going to holy places, which may also energize them in their devotional service. Okay. So we need a clarification on that. It doesn't mean we shouldn't visit holy places. No. It says you should visit Vrindavan, the place of Krishna's pastime, Sridham Mayapur, the place of Lord Chaitanya's birth and activities, and other holy places also. Prabhupada wanted us every year to go to the Mayapur Gaur Purnima festival for at least 8 days, take part in the festival there, because of our connection directly with Lord Chaitanya as our worshipful deity for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Okay, so there's benefits and recommendations to go. And here, the one that we are, the verse says, Prabhupada just making a point that if you're engaged fully in devotional service, then the word fully is very important to understand, then there is no need to change locations like that. Read the last paragraph again.
Last paragraph, Guru Maharaj, this one?
Let's see, maybe it's the one before that.
Okay. For pure devotees of the Lord who are completely satisfied with the transcendental loving service of the Lord, there is hardly any necessity to visit the various places of pilgrimage. But those who are not so advanced have the prescribed duties of visiting pilgrimage sites and regularly performing the rituals. The part of the princely order of the Yadu dynasty who went to Prabhas performed all duties to be done in a place of pilgrimage and offered their pious actions to their forefathers and others.
Yeah,
Should I
so
continue?
here the distinction is made between two classes of devotees. Ones who are completely satisfied in transcendental loving service, they may or may not go, but those who are not, it's recommended that they also occasionally go to visit holy places. Okay, so you can just understand the distinction. Okay, so we can stop there and see if we can open it up for discussion.
Thank you.
Sorry about being late today. I wasn't aware of the time change. I've just moved my location, and so I'm not so much in tune with my new location here.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. I'll just, if you can bring your screen down. Yes, thank you. Now we can take a darshan. Thank you so much. Devotees, if you have any questions, comments, realizations, please unmute yourself and ask. If you can't speak, then type it in the chat box for me, please. I'll read it for you. And it'll be nice to have your darshan. If you can keep your cameras on, please. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yes, Darya Mataji, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. Hare Krishna, my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Maharaj. I was wondering, because you mentioned that by pleasing the Lord in devotional service, we don't have any debts, even to great sages. But we often hear that Krishna is more pleased when we serve his devotees. Is that only if you're very advanced and you don't have any debts to even...
No, how can you serve Krishna without serving his devotees? There's no way. There's no question of serving Krishna without serving Krishna's devotees.
Mm-hmm.
It's automatic because you're serving his devotees by following the instructions of his spiritual teachers. So devotional service to the Lord includes service to his devotees, which is the preliminary to devotional service. You can't serve Krishna directly. It's not possible.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You only serve Krishna through service to his devotee, but particularly in the spiritual master. Or even if we're not initiated, still we should serve those who are advanced in devotional service. And that qualifies us to get the mercy of the Lord. Krishna says, one who says he's my devotee is not my devotee. One who says he's a devotee of my devotee is actually my devotee. So those who try to serve Krishna directly without serving his devotees is like, it's like, trying to, what would be a good analogy? It's like trying to catch the wind, pretty much.
Thank you very much for the clarification. And when we perform devotional service, then you mentioned that everybody's benefited, even those that do not perform devotional
Yeah.
service?
Yeah, I use the analogy, rain falls where it needs, but it also falls on places where there's no need. Same way, because Krishna is the source of everything, everywhere. When he's pleased, everyone benefits, even the non-devotees. How their benefit, we may not understand directly, but there is some benefit. Just like when the sun comes out, everyone gets the sunlight. Even those who don't want it or don't need it, they still get it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's auspicious. Take the devotional service and you benefit everyone. Well, of course, starts with yourself, of course.
Thank you, Darya Mataji. I hope that answers your question. Sridevi Mataji, please go ahead.
Thank you, Satyabhama. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, as you were describing about sadhana siddhis and nitya siddhas like Srila Prabhupada, you also mentioned kripa siddhas. So I cannot recall, at least myself. Can you please share with us some examples of kripa siddha devotees who attained special mercy like that from the Lord?
There are some in the Shastras. I'd have to really think about it to really come up with an example. Well, we know one thing. This is not exactly this, but it has the same principle that just like you're serving, therefore, although your father is not serving directly, he's getting benefit from your service because his connection is with you. Those are connected to the devotee. We have the example. All right, so the example is, here's the example. Dhruva Maharaj, when he reached perfection, he was going back home, back to Godhead. When he was getting the airplane, the flower airplane came from the spiritual world to take him back. When he was about to get in, he remembered his mother, and he said, what about my mother? And they said, well, Dhruva, look to your left. And he looked to his left, and he saw his mother was getting another similar airplane to go back to the spiritual world. Because she created a pure devotee, she got the benefits of pure devotional service also. And he remembered his mother at the time of departure. And then although she didn't engage in devotional service, she was his Padak Vartmana guru. She put him on the path of bhakti. And therefore, even though she didn't execute devotional service, she got the full merit of devotional service.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
That's
Thank
also
you for
good.
that.
Yeah, also those of you who have children, you raise your children, and they save you sometimes because you fall down because you get lazy after a while and start spacing out. And then your kids will save you if they stay fixed in devotional service. So the connection is there between relatives and friends and others also. That's just an example, but there's another way to understand Kripa Siddha. And that is when Krishna just wants to benedict someone who is outstanding, but hasn't taken up the process of pure devotional service.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. I have another question also, but I can wait.
Go ahead, you can do another one since you're there.
Okay. When we say sadhana siddha, that means one is trying by this process of devotional service to attain perfection. Now, we also know that Lord Chaitanya has made this process in such a way that one can attain perfection in one lifetime. But if we do not take the process seriously or we slack off, as you said, or something, then the same process can take many lifetimes. So,
Yeah.
what stops us from trying to complete it in one lifetime?
Well, you know better than I do.
I just asked for that, didn't I, Guru Maharaj?
You asked what's stopping you. I just said you know that. You have to now you have to stop doing that. That's stopping you. Or you have to take up something that you need to do that's also preventing you from achieving perfection. That's why the scriptures are full of statements of things that are necessary and things that we should carefully avoid. So, for instance, Rupa Goswami gives that in his Nectar of Instructions. The 6 things that are favorable, 6 things are unfavorable. So in the 6 things that are unfavorable, they may also be part of a devotee's practice. And therefore, they have to see, oh, this, according to Shastra, this is unfavorable. Therefore, I should give it up. Such as associating with the non-devotees, or eating too much, collecting too much, over-endeavoring for things that are not necessary, material things. Following rules and regulations for the sake of following without understanding the purpose behind them. These are all principles that will prevent us from reaching pure devotional service. These are, and there are more.
So this is such a scientific process that unless one very carefully applies each and every principle, one can unknowingly slip off, lose out, and stray away and deviate and so on. So there is so much vigilance required, even on a daily basis, to be so watchful over our thoughts, words, and deeds to make sure that we are at least sticking to the path.
Well, what does the Acharyas say? That engaging in devotional service is like shaving with a razor. If one is not attentive, then there could be some cut. So we have to be very careful in our execution of devotional service and not fall into the wrong activities. Falling into the wrong activities may be influenced by having association with people who are not Krishna conscious. That might cause us to develop desires that are material. Now, there's many ways so as the Acharyas say, one has to be very attentive in their execution of devotional service. and be very aware what to avoid and what to accept. So yeah, we learn what are the rules and regulations, and then we follow them very carefully, avoiding what is inauspicious or contrary, and accepting what is favorable. A lot of that has to do with association, but there are other things. There's, just like acting whimsically in devotional service and not following the instructions of the spiritual master and just devising their own ways to do devotional service, rejecting the spiritual master's instructions and serving in a way that they want to serve. Krishna is not accepting that because that person has been guided by his representative to serve in the way that he's been given. If we don't follow that, then we're acting independently. We can't call it devotional service, although we may do it. So when you receive an instructions, that is your principle of success, to execute that instructions. And if you somehow go around it and think it's not important and do something different, then that is the offense to the holy name. The third offense is to disobey the instructions of the spiritual master, which is an offense both to the guru and to the holy name also.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much. My obeisances.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Mr. Kumar.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances at your lotus feet. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So Maharaj, one question I had on the point that was in the purport, Maharaj, that there is no depth for the devotees to the forefathers or the demigods. Does that, by any chance, dependent on the ashram, Maharaj, that is that also applicable for grahasthas, that there is no depth for forefathers or demigods, Maharaj?
Yeah, it applies across the board. Doesn't give any indication, nor does it even make sense just to be particular for one ashram and not another ashram. But sometimes there is what is called the need to give protection for those who require protection, such as women, children, cows, brahmanas, and elderly people. So sometimes when we neglect the elderly who have given us something, it's a deviation in the right mood of devotional service. But say you have some old parents and they require some help. So you can also recommend different ways that they can get the same help without you doing it directly. And so you're still taking care, such as sending them to a holy place where they can live out their life and do some devotional service and live peacefully. So, and it doesn't apply to ashram. It's across the board.
Okay. So Maharaj, one follow-up question I have, Maharaj, on this, based on this answer and this direction or the instruction. Then when we hear that if we go to material job, paying job, and not taken up full-time devotional service, then it's sort of mixed devotional service. How do we understand, Maharaj, against that? Is there a connection between these two aspects?
Well, there is rules and regulations for those engaged in devotional service who have outside activities based on an employment. So one has to give a percentage of their earnings to different persons. And if they keep it all themselves, then yeah, then they're not acting in accordance to the principles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But then again, it's better to serve within the confines of devotional service, and then everything is done simply by direct service.
Okay.
The other thing is called Gona Bhakti. It's parallel to regular Bhakti. Gona, Gauna. It's acceptable, but then again, there is principles that one must follow.
Okay. Okay.
But there are acharyas, especially certain ones, and me myself, I tell devotees, stop working for the non-devotees and just center your life around doing devotional service, and Krishna will take care of everything you need to live. But sometimes we're so attached to that so-called freedom that we think we have by doing that, and that we don't want to do that.
Okay.
Bhakti Charu Maharaj was very strong about that. Radhanath Swami wasn't preaching so much, but he arranged for many of his devotees to have a hospital. He had so many people who were his doctors. So they made a Krishna conscious hospital where they can do devotional service and at the same time take care of their occupation also.
Okay.
That's Varnashram. That's Varnashram.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Maharaj. This gives a lot of clarity, Maharaj. Thank you.
Thank you, Shiv Kumar Prabhu. Sarvi Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much for today. I'm so sorry that I can't have camera today. It's not working very well. Thank you very much for today. You explain about Dhruva Maharaj and his mother. That makes me to wonder, for instance, if a woman doesn't have a son but have daughter, and the daughter are devotee, can they also do the same thing for their parents as a daughter?
Yeah. Gender is not a consideration. Yeah, anyone who's engaged in devotional service, they benefit those who are connected to them. Daughter, son, even relative.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
But Dhruva Maharaj's mother she put him on the path of bhakti. She was special in that way. It was because of her that he left home and went to the forest and began his process of devotional service. So she was like his guru. That's called Vartmana Padarshana Guru, the one who brings you to the path of bhakti.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
you.
Sarvi Mataji. Amritanam Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, my humble obeisance. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So Guru Maharaj, we in the pulpit we hear about the sadhana siddhas, which includes the mixed devotees as well as the pure devotees. So I was always in the impression that pure devotees come under the Nitya Siddha category. If they are pure devotees, aren't they already fixed?
Well, one can become a pure devotee by executing one's sadhana. One's sadhana is divided into Vaidhi Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti. When one reaches the stage of spontaneous devotional service and develops that consciousness of serving Krishna in the mood of following in the footsteps of the residents of Vrindavan, then they also become pure devotees. Actually, pure devotees can be on any stage. On any stage. Pure devotion is not relegated to a certain category of living entities. It's there for everybody because the soul is pure. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhu Kabonoi Sradavanani Siddhi Chitte Kodiye Udoi. So everyone has pure love for Krishna. And so the process is bhakti is to bring it out. And generally it comes out when we reach a more mature stage of bhakti. But it can happen even on the lower stages. But that's generally not the case, but it's possible.
So, Guru Maharaj, if I say all pure devotees are not Nitya Siddhas, then is it a correct statement?
Yeah. Nitya Siddhas are the ones who never come to the material world. And if they do, they only come as a messenger. So, yeah.
Okay.
No,
Thank you.
yeah, this purport, I mean, clearly says there are two kinds. There's Nitya Siddhas and Sadhana Siddhas. It doesn't say everybody's a Nitya Siddha. It says there's two. Sadhana Siddhas also.
Right.
Siddha
Okay,
means
thank you.
Siddha means perfection. So one can attain perfection, or one never loses perfection. That's the difference. Sadhana siddhas can attain perfection, and Nitya siddhas are always perfect.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Amritana Mataji. Kanchan Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, my obeisances.
Hey, you finally resurfaced.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Nice to see you. I saw your wife this morning, and she said,
Yeah.
"Did my husband contact you?" I said, "Who's that?"
I was going to come in the afternoon, Maharaj, but I heard that you're now going out. So I'll see you in the evening instead.
Yeah, you come to the program. There's something happening.
Yeah, I'll be coming there instead. Maharaj, my obeisances and all glories to Prabhupada. I wanted to ask a practical question about, like you said, working with devotees. And like Radhanath Maharaj has done the hospital, and there are other projects that are out there, and devotees get involved. But I've also noticed that devotees get I'll just use the word fried, working with other devotees, and it can sometimes cause the opposite intention for what it would be to work with a devotee, as in the nice spiritual atmosphere can become a different type of atmosphere. And I was just wondering how a devotee how we can all think about this practically. Like, for example, sometimes I'm thinking, okay, I need to get a plumber, and sometimes devotees just think, oh, let's get a devotee plumber, and that just becomes their only category of what would make a good plumber if they chant Hare Krishna. But it might not be the case that just because the plumber is a devotee, that he'll be a good plumber. And sometimes devotees can get caught up in he's a devotee. And I was just wondering what your thoughts are on how to kind of go about associating with devotees and working with devotees, but at the same time not offending, or thinking about it in a holistic way.
Well, your example is just, it's not complete, because that can happen even in a temple. People are working together in a temple, and they also develop some tension, some disagreement. So it can happen anywhere. So that is something that will interfere with the progress of devotional service. Therefore, cooperation is very important on all levels. We cooperate around the instructions of the spiritual master, and that is in two things: the service we do and the behavior we cultivate. We judge a devotee not so much by their service, but by their behavior.
Yeah.
behavior is more prominent in a way to understand the quality of a devotee than what service they're doing. How they behave towards others, how they behave towards Krishna, how they behave towards each other. So Vaishnava etiquette is the ornament that makes everything successful. Proper behavior, proper speech, all of these things are all in line with success in bhakti. When they're not there, they can cause dissension, misunderstanding.
So Marge, that means we have to also intelligently think about the devotees' behavior, their speech, the way they behave, in terms of before getting involved in certain things, like maybe a full-time job. Because if we don't think about the things you just mentioned, like behavior and speech and the way their dealings, and just we know that they are a devotee, that can cause a problem. So I think, yeah, your answer about seems like we have to think about more than just the fact that they are a devotee. What are they like? What's their character and what's their behavior?
Yeah, but we usually don't emphasize another person as much as we emphasize our own behavior.
Yeah. So we look at our own, yeah.
Yeah, because they say sometimes that we say that if you, what is it? If you want to change others, change yourself.
Yeah.
Because when you change yourself, you find other people also change.
Okay. Okay. So emphasis is always on ourselves rather than others.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, if there's someone that's obviously just causing trouble, then you see that you might want to distance yourself from them. But if there's something that is just a character discrepancy, it's not so much a reason for not working together.
Yeah. Because that can happen anywhere, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah. Even very advanced devotees sometimes act wrongly. But they don't do it regularly. They may happen just by circumstance.
Yeah, we see that in the Shastra often, and I think before I used to get very bewildered by when a devotee does one thing that's like Bhishma Dev, why didn't he protect Draupadi, or why did Hanuman tell the squirrel not to help? But actually, like you said, it's out of circumstance, and it's not their whole person, just if they make the odd mistake.
Yeah. If you come to my kirtans, you'll also see it.
Your kirtans are the best, Maharaj.
That's a matter of opinion.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Kanchanjaya Prabhu. Very nice and practical question. And devotees, any other questions last minute before we close? Oh yes, Sonal Mataji, you had your hands up. Yes, go on.
Krishna Maharaj.
You're not going to get away with not speaking.
Please accept my obeisances, to all the assembled Vaishnavas. Maharaj, as when I was a child, my grandmother used to perform these the offerings every Amavasya days or all those days, and there used to be one yajna, I remember, one of the Pitru Pakshas days. So when I read the purport, isn't this these debts are related to those kind of sacrifices, and devotees are not recommended to perform those yagnas? Is it right?
Yeah, because Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, whatever the demigods can provide is also given, and is coming from me. Those who worship the demigods, their intelligence is, is damaged. So if you worship Krishna, the demigods are automatically worshipped. So one doesn't have to perform all of these rituals separately. And most of the rituals that people from India perform are also to the different devas.
Yes, and so Maharaj, is it correct to understand that the duties which we perform for, say, relatives or parents are our nitya duties, as in our daily services which we are supposed to perform, not after they have passed away we are supposed to perform these services. Is it right? Because those are not debts. Those are like our dealings, like normal normal dealings.
That has to be understood amongst the persons who are together, what is required. But again, if you're engaged in the process of devotional service, all of these things are not necessary, even when they are personally present.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Devotional service includes everything, because everything is connected to Krishna.
So if I'm not able to, say, attend to them in person, is it okay that I arrange the service to be performed by someone else and I can pray here to Krishna that please take care of them? Because I'm far away from them. So I do have that, sort of guilt that I'm not there to help them all the time.
Well,
they need me.
Well, if you see a person needs help, natural, a devotee will want to help someone who's in need, whether it's relatives or just people in general. That's natural. So we do that sometimes as a service to Krishna by serving others who need some help. But if they need help materially, then you have to see whether it's necessary or not. And like Srila Prabhupada, he made sure some of his children, he received some money to take care of them after he left when they needed it. So we can do that, but it's not that you have to serve them directly.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. It takes a little bit of understanding the situation. Mm-hmm.
It's sometimes just because I'm away from my parents or my family, there's this guilt comes in that I'm not serving them directly, and I'm just trying to figure out a way how shall I get over that guilt that I'm not serving them directly.
Do you have a sibling?
Yes, but sometimes she also needs help and I'm not around her either.
So there's ways to, 2 and 2 is 4 and 3 and 1 is 4.
Yeah. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you. Thanks, Anand Mataji. Any other questions, devotees? Anyone? Okay. Seems there are no other questions, Guru Maharaj. So is it okay to close the call?
I just asked Satyabhama, see if she says it's okay, then you can do it.
We still ask Guru Maharaj.
I'm here for answering questions and responding. You're here to direct the program.
Okay, so yeah, if there are any other, burning questions, we can take it. Otherwise, we can close the call. Oh yes, Sonal Mataji, you have raised your hands again. Yes, go on.
She's making up for all the days she missed.
You have answered this question multiple times in your previous classes, but I keep on forgetting. And can you please remind? So out of these 9 processes of sadhana bhakti, because we are sadhana bhaktas, say if I have inclination towards one process and I don't particularly get benefit from the other 8 or 9 processes. Is it okay to concentrate on that just one process, or shall we have that overall understanding of sadhana bhakti and we should perform all those 9 processes?
Well, you can focus on one process, but chanting of the holy name has to be there in any of the other process. That's mentioned in the Bhagavatam. That you might think, well, I'm going to just do deity worship. But if you don't chant the holy names, after a while, you won't be able to stay fixed in deity worship, because it's the Yuga Dharma and it's the means for self-realization, and it supports all of the other activities that we perform. So the chanting of the holy name is one of the 9 processes. Yeah, so that's important. And as Prabhupada also said, just to add a point, that before you can do any of the 9 processes, you have to hear. Before you have to learn what it means to do the process you choose, and focus on. That comes by hearing. So there between hearing and chanting, those apply through mostly all of the other processes. Those 2 in particular. And
And chanting has to be, sorry.
And remembering is the goal. The whole process of bhakti is to remember Krishna. Always. Continue with your question.
So when we are saying chanting the name, it can be any form of chanting. It can be japa chanting, or it can be sankirtana, or it has to be japa or sankirtana, either or.
Well, the initiation process is also part of the process of bhakti, and the 9 stages of bhakti. Initiation is number 3. And in that process, one agrees to chant 16 rounds on beads every day without fail. So that's there. That's japa.
Yeah, thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, you'll see that many of the main principles, there are other supporting activities that are necessary for the main ones to have an overall effect. Yeah, so these are just examples of things that support the main ones.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Anandataji. Yeah, we can close the call now. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj, for your time in association. It was so nice. I missed last week's class, so I was missing you. So it's nice to do this service for you.
Thank you.
Blessed.
Sorry I was late.
It's okay.
I'm in a new environment, so I'm still learning how to become environmental.
Just one thing, Guru Maharaj, I wanted to ask Gauri Priya Mataji, because I tried to contact her on the WhatsApp, but I couldn't reach her. And I'm trying to get her contact details so that I can, her address, so that I can send the CC set. So Gauri Priya Mataji, you're on the call. So please check your WhatsApp message if you're not. I'm trying to connect you to send the CC set for you, please.
Yeah, she's there. I can see her name there.
Yeah, she's here. It just I'm trying to connect her on the WhatsApp, but she's not responding. So I thought I'll just message, let her know, because there is no other way.
Gauri Priya,
There
she is.
Yes, Mataji, if you can send me, I've sent some questions to you on the WhatsApp. If you can just respond to me.
Okay. Thank you. Good.
Yesterday we sold 9 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yes.
Right after the kirtan.
Yes, it was amazing. You should have seen Guru Maharaj. He was just one after another. Because Guru Maharaj requested everyone was taking Srimad Bhagavatam sets.
Well, we got 9 out of the group. I was shooting for 16, but we only got 9, which 9 is pretty good anyway.
Yeah. 9 is very good, Guru Maharaj. We struggled to give out 1 or 2 sets in South London.
Well, this year, the goal with the VBT is 108,000 sets of Bhagavatam worldwide. So that's the goal. And each area of the world has a allotted amount that they have to fulfill in order to contribute to that gold. 108,000 sets of Bhagavatam. And it's actually, this is either Srila Prabhupada's recommended instruction that we want to get Bhagavatam into the house of every living being. Even the non-devotees, if they have it there, they're getting benefit, even if they don't read it, just by having it. Okay, so
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj.
if you keep thanking me, I get bored.
Yes, sure.
It's nice that you're so what we say, gracious in your activities, but I can thank you also, and you'll get bored after a while too.
Yes, you're right, actually.
Thank you, Satyabhama, for being you. Thank you for raising your child to become a devotee. Thank you for making your husband a devotee. Thank you for going out and distributing books, even during the marathon when it's cold. Thank you for learning how to cook Western prasadam. What else? Let's see, what else can I thank you for? It's a whole long list.
All by your mercy. That's all I'll say.
See, I get stuck again.
You know how I was and what I was. You know us all in and out. And nothing is hidden from you, from your eyes, from your heart.
But because you know how to associate with those personalities who inspire you in devotional service, you have successfully done so many wonderful services. You know how to choose your association very, what we say, appropriately. That's good.
Learning from you, Guru Maharaj.
Now, see, I got stuck again. You're learning from me, and I'm learning from my devotees too. When Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati was asked, "How many disciples do you have?" He said, "I have no disciples. They're all my spiritual masters. I learned something from each one of them." He's serious. He's not just making some statement. We learn from each other also. And we inspire each other. It's not that it's just a one-way street.
I'll close the call now. And I will say thank you.
We thank all the devotees for coming. And
Yes.
tomorrow in the UK, where I am, is Ekadasi. And I guess tomorrow's Ekadasi in the US too, right?
Yes, Maharaj.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in India, it's not until
It's
Sunday.
day after Guru Maharaj.
Sunday.
29th is Ekadashi, day after tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Srimad Bhagavatam.
Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Maharaj ki Jai.
You having trouble finding the button?
Guru Maharaj ki Jai.
Hey.
You know where the button is?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Very much,
Thank
Dr.
Hare
Jai.
Krishna Maharaj. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Oh, glory
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Hari, Hari, Hari.
Thank you, Satyabhama.
Jai. Thank you.
Still can't find the button yet, so.
Karu Kaban.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you, Satyabhama. Thank you, devotees.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Ki Jai.